Viewers, welcome back to Youth Wednesdays on Tobago Updates. After a very large downpour at about 7:54 this morning, here we are a minute after and the sun is coming out. Now, I'm not against the sun or anything, but that sun is hot. So I was hoping, a little bit more rainfall, but it's fine. We digress and we progress during the day, right? So here we are for our last interview on Youth Wednesdays here on Tobago Updates. And I don't know if you have been paying attention to your social media, but this has been everywhere. We should be proud as Tobagonians because, of course, she is a woman of the soil. She has just received one of the highest honors you can have from the French. Okay. Yes, from the French. Now, I've given her a task this morning. I'm not good with the je ne vous, right? So wherever I speak English this morning, wherever French needs to be inputted, she'll do that for me this morning, right? So I start off by telling you a little bit of the award. So the Order of Academic Palms, which in French says...
L'Ordre Académique, le Palme Académique.
is a national order bestowed by the French Republic on distinguished academics and teachers and for extraordinary service to universities, education, and science. This prestigious order is given to those who actively and outstandingly contribute to the French culture and education throughout the world. Emperor Napoleon originally established this order in 1808 as a decoration to honor eminent members of the University of Paris. I got that right?
Oui, you got that.
It was then changed its current form as an Order of Merit in 1955 by President René Coty, making it one of the oldest civil honors bestowed by the French Republic. Since 1955, the
L'Ordre Palme Académique
has had 3 grades, each with a fixed annual number of new recipients or promotions. So here is where the Greek French comes in, right? First order is Commander or
Commandeur.
Gold palm of 60 millimeters surmounted by a laurel wreath worn on necklet. The second is Officer.
Officer.
Gold palm of 55 millimeters worn on ribbon with rosette on the left breast. And the third order, Knight.
Chevalier.
Silver palm of 50 millimeters worn on a ribbon on the left breast.
Yes.
Miss Jovani Campbell, the youngest recipient in Trinidad and Tobago, has been awarded this award. And we say congratulations to her first before we get into this interview. She's very excited to be here and tell you all about what she has to offer and what she has offered and gotten to the point of getting this award, right? So, Miss Campbell, as you have been affectionately called by all of your students, good morning to you.
Bonjour, good morning.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Oh, I got that correct. That was the right pronunciation.
Oui, ça c'est parfait.
Bonjour. All right. Before we continue, please introduce yourself and who you are. Tell them, how you've gotten to this point.
Okay, donc, bonjour. Good morning, Tobago Updates. I am Jovani Campbell, and I am a teacher at Bishop's High School. Having been passionate about teaching French over maybe the last 20-something years. Yes, because I'm in my 30s.
No, it doesn't match up, but okay, continue.
Thank you. I would have started at Signal Hill High School, where I was taught by Miss Craig. And I also had private classes with Mrs. Sosa, who is one of my dear mentors. And then I went on to study at the University of the West Indies, Cayfield campus, where I pursued a double major in French and education. And then I graduated as one of the most outstanding students in literature.
Congratulations.
And then I had the opportunity to go to France, where I was fully immersed in the language, and I had the opportunity to teach English at high schools and so forth. And then it continued to unfold.
All right. So that is a very big start to your journey there, being in France and being able to speak English, I guess you would have been incorporated into the culture itself. So
fully
right. So you
immersed.
would have gotten a greater appreciation of French itself
And the culture.
and the culture.
That's where the love for the culture came.
Right. Okay. I know the French culture is amazing, but I'll leave that to you to tell us more about that later on. Okay. So what is the Order of Palms Academic? How does one go about getting this award?
Okay. Lord Palm Academy. It's, as you rightfully shared, it's one of the oldest orders given by the government of France. Now there are different areas you could get this award: in arts, in music, in French, the language and the culture, which I was the recipient. What is really important is that you have an. What is really important is that you have the opportunity to basically showcase exactly what you're excellent at. So what the government or the ambassador, the embassy, the Alliance Française, they would have observed my contribution to the language and the culture over the years. Following from high school all the way to university, having studied and lived in, studied French and living in France, returning home, quickly pursuing my diploma in education to become a master teacher, or at least I thought I was back then. And then having done several trainings, I'm a DELF examiner also. I would have done other trainings in St. Lucia in France and so forth. Last year, I also got a scholarship to study abroad in Cavillam, which is like one of the best universities for teaching and so forth, and the culture, the language. And I would have done a lot of Bastille Days, Bastille Day events with my friends, with my family. I would have done a lot of programs with students in July, August. I taught at Tobago Institute of the Tourism and Hospitality. I volunteered and did translation on French cruise ships. So there were a lot happening. I took students to Guadeloupe while I'm teaching French in Bishop's High School. So it's really much more than just teaching the language. It's really been like an extraordinary torchbearer for the culture and the language.
Okay. Yeah. So you have shared where your journey began, and that was at Signal Hill High School, and then you said you had a few classes with Mrs. Sosa.
Yes.
I just want to say congratulations to her as well, bringing up this award. She would have been one of them who would have been awarded in 2001.
Yes.
Right? So congratulations to Mrs. Sosa. I know Tobago Updates wasn't a thing back then, but it is now, and we share congratulations to you along with Miss Campbell in this award. All right? So what sparked your interest in French? Besides, croissants, and the perfume. I hope I'm getting those things correct. What sparked your interest in the French culture and French itself?
Well, it's a really interesting story because I started at the age of 11, as I previously mentioned. And I didn't really know anybody studying French, or I didn't really have an idea. My father was a taximan, and he came into contact with foreigners, and I heard this thing that seemed a bit foreign, and I didn't know exactly what it was. And then I had the opportunity to learn it at Signal Hill. And so I said, okay, this thing is really interesting to me, but I wasn't confident and brave enough to embrace it. So I did it at CSEC level, at the time was CXC, and then I just kind of left it. But it was really interesting because when I went to university, I never went to do French.
Okay.
It was presented to me as an option to do a double major. They saw this young girl coming from Tobago, really interested in doing education, but what will you do education with? And then they proposed French. And I said, I don't think that I should do it because I never had the opportunity to do it at sixth form because it was never in the radar. Right? And so then that was presented to me at university, and I had really good teachers and lecturers at the university, and they encouraged me, they motivated me. That is where I knew what the possibilities could have been if I pursued French, because it was nowhere in my family, nowhere in my friend circle, very limited in Tobago and so forth.
You know what I love? I just heard you said that you are a teacher presently at the Bishop's High School, right? And you also mentioned that you would have had a good teaching system going toward, your journey, teaching French. Now you've joined this journey as a teacher, right? It's very hard when you want to pursue something that you're very much interested in, and there is nobody there, or there is not enough teaching supportive, so to speak,
Certainly.
to take you through. So I'm really
Certainly.
happy that that was your journey, and now you have been inspired to now become a part of someone else's journey by being a teacher
Oh
of
yeah,
bishops.
and I certainly don't take it for granted. I'm very passionate about it, and I guess the students would attest to that.
No, your students love you. Believe you me. What were your feelings in the moment when you got the call? Because I know
wow.
we had a conversation before prior to coming on air. What were your feelings like in the moment, and what were your feelings like walking up to get the award? Because I know a few people would have seen the video. I know you were very excited, but very very calm.
I
very
tried to
calm
be.
demeanor, right? So what were your feelings like in those moments?
Well, I got the call from the embassy in Trinidad, and I was a bit taken aback. So I spoke to the director or somebody working in the office at the French embassy in Trinidad, and they were saying that the ambassador would like to chat with me. Naturally, I started to panic. I'm like, what is it he, would like to talk to me about? Please tell me so that I could sharpen up what I'm about to say. Maybe I could do some research.
All right.
So he didn't want to say exactly what the ambassador wanted to speak to me about. And of course, I was worried. Eventually, we agreed on a time that the ambassador could reach me. And so he did. And then he shared the information where I was totally left speechless. Usually I'm somebody who speak a lot, but I had no words. I became very emotional. I was in awe. I'm totally shocked and really surprised at the news because it was nothing that I worked to accomplish in mind. It was just me going along my way, my journey, thinking that I'm just doing what I'm doing passionately, not expecting anybody to recognize, all the efforts and whatever. So it really touched my heart. I felt as though it was really ordained by God.
I think this is proof of when you actually love what you do and you put in that effort, somebody's always watching. You're inspiring somebody.
That.
And you being surprised that you would have been called for this award, and you just being on this journey where you find French so interesting, doing your part in society to just pass on the French culture.
Yes.
Now someone has recognized you for it, and I think that is a big achievement in itself. And I just want to say congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Yes, you are inspiring me. I mean, I might not speak French, but I'll eat more croissants. I could tell you, I could tell you that. So were there any stumbling blocks on your journeys? What motivated you to continue on? Because a lot of people might be watching you and thinking this might have been so easy for her.
Not at all.
But I know you would have had something that would have pulled you back, but you still kept pushing.
Certainly.
So what was that stumbling block, and what kept you going?
Well, there were many, actually. So let's see if I could make this really short. At high school, as I said, I really wanted to be an accountant or somebody into business.
Yes.
So then, because it was easy for me. So at sixth form, I said, yes, this is what I would do. This is who I would be. And then getting my grades at sixth form level, where I really struggled in MOB and economics. I felt like I was totally like a failure, right? Wasn't the strongest science student, never saw myself pursuing science, thought business was it, and I was not that outstanding. And so then I said, what am I really going to do? Like what can I contribute? I really loved education, and that's where I went to university. And having not studied French at sixth form level and going to university with persons who studied French at sixth form, I really felt like I was at the bottom of the barrel, right? And I don't want to get too emotional because it's a really...
It was a hard journey.
Yes, it really was hard, right? And at university, we started with approximately 25 students. And at the end, we graduated with about 5 or 7 students, with me actually topping the class in literature.
Congratulations.
And so it was really difficult. There were times I felt like I probably should focus on education some more and not on French, because all my friends are getting A's and I'm pulling in the B's and the C's. So I remember one day crying to one of my friends and I said, I really want to drop out of this French. This is not it. My paper would be filled with red marks and so forth. And she said, when it meets a certain time, you will stop crying. nothing in life comes easy.
Correct.
I know you come from humble beginnings. I know you never had plans of studying French at university. I know that you feel as though you're disadvantaged, but you definitely need to pursue, and I'm really glad that I did.
Right.
It was
really
difficult.
glad that you did as well, because here you are receiving this award.
Yeah.
All right. And a little advice to you high schoolers or students in school still pursuing education. Even though there are red marks on your paper,
Yes.
if you change your mindset from seeing red marks to seeing where you can be corrected and do better, it will be a big advantage for you going forward in life. Just saying. All right. So Miss Campbell would have seen those red marks at some point, and she would have beefed up on it, and now she's being awarded for something that she loves. All right. What has been your favorite part of your journey thus far?
Seeing my family and my friends interested. Well, there are several parts. Seeing my family and friends interested after years of convincing them, hey, I'm not crazy, I love French. I really don't know much people. There's not a large community, but come on board and just kind of support the idea, right? So I had an idea of Bastille Day, which is the 14th of July, and I invited them, and we ordered French red berets, and I catered all the food and all of that, and we really had a good time, and that really motivated me to continue. Also to see my students doing exceptionally well at the CSEC and at the Cape level. I would have had students topping the region in French, notably in 2019, even up to the last year or this year actually, where I received an award also from the Tobago House of Assembly for students doing well at Cape and CSEC. So that has been one of my really, how can I say, outstanding, enjoyable moments in the journey of studying and learning, pursuing the language and culture.
All right. Okay. It sounds very fun to learn French. You know?
Yes,
It's mind-boggling at this point.
I think you should definitely tap into learning French, and there are quite a few opportunities that I'm hoping that the Tobago House of Assembly and so forth would partner with me, and so that we could take the language a bit further than Bishop's High School.
All right. So before we go, do you want to shout out anybody that might have helped you along this journey? Anybody you would like to say thanks to?
Certainly, I would like to say thank you to the French government for recognizing Tobago, because this is just not for me, this is for Tobago, and by extension, Trinidad and Tobago. I would also like to say thanks to the ambassador, Monsieur Didier Chabert, also to Alliance Française, the French Embassy, my workplace, Bishop's High School. Thank you to my family and to my friends for always supporting. I would also like to say thank you to the Tobago House of Assembly, just even for giving me the opportunity to teach French in Tobago, especially at Bishop's High School. Thanks to God. Right? That is where I should probably really start. And of course, to Miss Sosa, who would have been in my corner supporting. She never gave up on me. Signal Hill High School, where I started at the tender age of 11. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to learn French.
All right. And thank you so much, Ms. Campbell, for being with us here on Youth Wednesdays on Tobago Updates. I know we're coming down to the end of it. And one more time, I just want to say congratulations to you on the award that you have received. Please say it in French, and then I'll say it in English. That is the
L'Ordre Palme Académique.
Right, and that is the Order of Academic Palms awarded to Miss Jovani Campbell for her outstanding efforts in the French culture.
And language, yes.
Right, so we continue on Tobago updates, but here is the end of Youth Wednesdays going into Good Morning Tobago with Miss Chanel Felix. So before I do so, I've given Miss Campbell the task of telling you our favorite tagline in French. So I'm very excited to hear this. So before we go, I just want to tell you to
partager le lion. Partager le lion. Partager le lion live or live.
Right. So that is share the live, share the live, share the live. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.